Pardon me,
Shut those gates. You're letting the clouds in. What is your name?
Carlson, George Carlson.
Carlson? Oh, yes. Here it is, Carlson.
What is it now?
Just another case of bad operator maintenance, sir.
Uh-huh.
Now then, you were a tractor dozer operator.
The best.
Yes. Well, Carlson, we can't interrupt our regular procedures. And since you're not on our regular quota list, you'll just have to take a seat there until your case does come up. It's right over there.
And who is next?
Henry Richard Grogan.
Yes, sir.
All right, son, please step forward and let us consider your case. What is the history on this man?
The record states that on the date in question, one Henry Richard Grogan, tractor scraper operator of 9 years' experience, did perform the following action. He finished a routine job about an hour before the end of his shift. Then, since the cutting edge of his scraper bowl needed changing, he pulled his rig off to one side. He raised the bowl and apron so he'd have plenty of room to get at the edge retainer bolts, set his brakes, and shut off the engine. Got his tool kit from his truck and walked back to the bowl. Picked out the right wrench and proceeded to apply pressure to remove the bolt. Well, that first bolt was a little difficult to get started, but he got it.
Yeah, the next thing I knew, I was walking in here. Now, you can't say that was my fault.
Harry, someone or something is always at fault. Every accident has its cause. Quite often in the construction machinery business, the fault lies with the man who gets hurt. Your fault was carelessness, Harry. Carelessness in the form of a frayed apron cable. If you had inspected your machine carefully, observed good preventive maintenance, that cable would never have become worn enough to break. But even then... yes, Recorder.
He neglected another safety fundamental, sir. If he'd have put the apron and bowl in sheer with a couple of pieces of timber, the apron couldn't have fallen on him. You know, if you place the blocks properly, one tight up under the bowl and the other between the apron arm and the edge of the bowl, and then lower the bowl to put him in compression, you know you're going to be pretty safe.
Harry, I don't know what to say. We have an admissions quota here, and accident cases like this one are certainly causing us a lot of headaches. We do our best. But you gentlemen still manage to get yourselves killed.
Managed to get killed?
Of course. You kept two of my best agents, guardian angels you call them, tied up for a long time. The record, please. The record.
Oh, yes, sir, the record, yes. There was the time he needed a light for a cigarette, stopped his scraper, got off, and left the engine running. He forgot one of the basic rules: never leave any machine without shutting off the engine. And he forgot that turning the wheel activates the power steering. Well, when he went to climb back aboard, he grabbed the steering wheel, pulled, Never leave any machine without making sure that the engine is turned off.
If one of my guardian agents hadn't gotten you out of the way, you might have been here much sooner.
Say, that reminds me of another case we had a while ago. Yes, here it is. That time, a tractor scraper had a dead battery, so the operator called for help to get it started. The maintenance man got out his jumper cable and hailed down another scraper. Well, as soon as the cable was connected, the stalled engine started. Just about then, the helpful operator leaned over to see what was going on, pulled on his steering wheel, and the serviceman in between had no place to go. So he wound up here one more over our quota.
Seems stupid, Harry? But then it's no more foolish than some of the things you used to do. For example, we know that sometimes a job layout requires you're leaving your car some distance from the field shop area. But hitchhiking rides on moving machines, well, that's just asking for it. One slip and...
We don't even like to think about it.
Yes, Harry, your accident was your own fault. It's a wonder you didn't have a serious one before. Oh, you'll be admitted all right. Stupidity has no bearing on that. But these unscheduled accidents, the ones that aren't on our quota list, well, you'll have to wait. We'll try to work you in later.
Take him around to the waiting room around the side, please. Michael Dennis Wagner.
Here, sir.
Well, Michael Wagner, what happened to you?
I don't know, Your Honor. I was having a smoke at the time.
Smoking? And in a no-smoking area.
You know the boss. He's so darn safety conscious.
Michael Wagner had driven his machine into the refueling area and had taken the opportunity to have a cigarette. The job foreman arrived in his car to talk with an operator whose machine was about ready to go. And Michael, knowing he was in a no-smoking area, ducked in back of the other machine. Well, when the foreman finished his talk, the operator drove lightly away.
Well, that dang Charlie run right over me. It was Charlie's fault, wasn't it?
It was partly Charlie's fault for not checking around his machine before he drove off. We must always do that. But you young men had no business smoking in that area.
Okay, so I goofed. But nobody got hurt but me.
Nobody but you. Recorder, let's examine the situation.
Hello. Oh, yes, Mr. Rugen. Just a moment, please. Get into bed, honey, and Mother will be right with you to hear your prayers. Yes, Mr. Rugen, I'm sorry. Yes, I know, sir. Well, I'm sorry about the rent, but I'm sure the car will be sold tomorrow, and then I'll be able to pay it. Yes. Yes, I will. Yes, thank you. Goodbye. Now, honey, let's hear your prayers.
Now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep, because I've been an especially good girl today. God bless Grandma and Grandpa and Mommy. And please take special good care of Daddy wherever he is.
Michael, when a man dies by accident, he almost always leaves others behind to suffer.
Yes, sir. I guess you're right.
And even if the accident victim isn't killed, he and his family face a difficult time, because hardly anyone ever makes a full recovery of his loss, either financial or physical. And in the construction business, most accidents lead to permanent physical damage. No, I'm afraid we can't do anything special for you. You'll have to go into detention for a while, too.
You there. You on this end. Come on. You're next.
Who, me, sir?
Yes, hurry up. We haven't got all eternity. Philip Arthur Clinton.
Yes, sir. I'm a crane operator.
You mean you were a crane operator?
Well, yeah. I was operating my crane, moving some fuel tanks.
The job superintendent had decided to change the location of the fuel dump and had called Philip with his crane to move it. Philip's driver got the slings and had climbed to the top of the tank as he moved the crane into position. Philip started to lower the hook and
I was
swing
there
in.
on the job when there was a sudden flash, and the fuel tank had exploded, and here I am.
You actually don't know what happened?
The fuel tank let go.
That's a problem with a lot of you men who think you're good operators. If you were really good, this kind of an accident couldn't happen. Let's go back to the minutes just before the accident. There you are, looking down at your work and thinking about what a fast and efficient job you're doing. That was enough for you, but a really good operator would have known what was going on all around him. If you had just taken the time to look around, you would have seen the high-tension wires. If you had just taken the time to look around, you could have stopped. Or, even after you hit the wires, a good operator would have stuck to the machine. Or, when the wires stopped thrashing around, would have jumped clear, not just stepped down as you did.
You guys who think you know all the answers are the ones that cause this department the most work.
I didn't realize.
We've seen some real dumb ones in the last couple of months. Why, anyone should know not to adjust the fan and generator belts with the engine running, but they do it all the time. It's a shortcut. But if that wrench ever slips, boy, I'll bet that smarts.
That's pretty dumb. I know better than that.
You're here, aren't you?
Yes, you were a good operator, but truly good operators don't cause us to exceed our quota.
You self-appointed good operators are cluttering up our waiting room. Well, I just don't see how... Excuse me. Yeah, hello. He is? Oh, for heaven's sake. Yeah, thanks. There's another coming up.
Well, that is too bad.
That tore it. George, you'll have to make room over there.
Did the chain slip?
Nope, the cable broke. It was frayed.
Pardon me, gentlemen. We still have to dispose of your case, Philip.
Yes, sir. Couldn't you make an exception this time?
I'm sorry, Philip.
There's no grounds for an exception. It's off to the waiting room for you.
Say, who are you and what did he do?
Just have a seat over there and wait your turn. And don't get impatient, because we're all going to be here for a long, long time. George Henry Carlson.
My brakes went out, and I didn't want to hit that car, and so...
We know, George. We'll just review the important parts.
Well, in the first place, you were driving too fast for conditions. With all the ice and mush, you could have been in trouble even if your brakes had held. Right there, that's the instant your poor operator maintenance paid off. That hydraulic fitting let the fluid squirt out. Now, if you had only taken a few minutes to check your machine at the start of the shift, you'd have spotted that leak at the coupling. It's been there for 2 weeks, just getting worse and worse.
Well, I did take off kind of fast,
Yeah.
but you don't know my boss. He likes for us to move all the rock we can, keep ahead of the trucks and the shovel, clean up around the crusher. Well, I was a little late.
George, we know. Every earth mover, no matter what the material, wants to move it as fast and as efficiently as possible. It's the only way he can keep his costs down to meet his competition. But your job foreman knows, even if you don't, that time and money lost by an accident like yours can upset his budget much more than a slightly lower rate of production. It's been established that accident prevention increases production by lessening damage to men and machines and thus keeping them both working more efficiently.
And longer, too. But boy, there's a lot of things to think about.
George, you must think of safety everywhere, all the time, not only in your work, but at home and at play. You must think about it so much that it becomes automatic, a way of life. And we all must remember that through our neglect and carelessness, we can often hurt others. Remember the toll road project you worked last summer? You left your machine with the bucket raised and the engine running.
Oh, that could have been a bad one. If the bucket hadn't got him, they might have pulled the shift lever and had the machine run away with him.
Right.
Oh, kids are everywhere. You just can't be too careful.
No machine should ever be left with its engine running or its boom raised. And on weekends, you have to be especially careful, so that children can't move or drop anything.
They just never seem to learn.
Not only the operators, Mr. Recorder. Every once in a while, they have help. Those are just a couple of accidents with parked machines.
Mm-hmm. Say, we've had some real beauties in motion, too. Or not just into something or over something in a pit or on the job, but on highways. Suppose you were driving down a highway at night and saw something like this in front of you. Why, you'd first wonder what it was, and then wonder which way it was going. And you sure could guess wrong. You should never drive construction rigs on the highways at night, even though they're pretty fast, because cars are faster. If there's no other way, make sure you have a police escort to warn other traffic, and never drive in reverse.
Safety makes sense because the safe way is the right way.
Yeah, if you guys would wake up to that, I could keep my books straight. Right now, the big flaw in construction machinery is the short circuit between the seat and the steering wheel. There are plenty of really good operators, men who know their work and their equipment, who are competent and careful, who practice good maintenance and safety procedures. These operators very seldom have accidents, and they're due plenty of recognition for their fine records. It's the others that I'm concerned with. They continue to get hurt and killed in spite of everything that's done to protect them. Modern construction machinery is brilliantly engineered. It's fast, mobile, powerful, and versatile. It has refinements such as power steering and power trains with torque converters and automatic transmissions to lessen fatigue by increasing ease of operation. You might say that safety is built in. Everything practical has been done to make these machines as safe as possible. The flaws lie in the men who cause senseless accidents.
Safety is really nothing more than applied common sense, and I do wish more people applied it. If everyone would be careful and wait his turn, we wouldn't be having this overcrowding problem up here, especially in the construction machinery operator section. The Lord knows our regular quota is large enough. We'd much rather you'd wait until your proper time has come, wouldn't you? Who's next? Are you?